querido?
¿Cómo
Parte
andamos?
2.
¿Todo bien?
Parte Francia.
Parte Francia
Parte
de
Francia.
nuestra entrevista. I'm going to call the episode Parte Francia.
Parte Francia.
¿Está bueno?
France.
Part France.
Number 2.
Ahí está. ¿Cómo te va, Mario? ¿Todo bien?
Oh, everything is good.
Did you have a good week?
On this neck of the wood is we're super excited. Thank you for the first part. It was really awesome to be invited, obviously, to have your guys' platform and then be able to actually showcase what we're doing here. So we're really happy about that. The kiddos, we have some kiddos in the academies. They watch the podcast and they're like,
they watch
Coach,
the episode, right?
Yeah, of course. And then they were like, Coach, I thought you were just joking whenever you said you were from Argentina. And I'm like, no, I'm from Argentina.
How are these kids not noticing this? They took a long time to notice.
They know. I mean, everything that I do is all Argentina, right? And how I speak and all. But they're like, yeah, Coach, we just thought that you weren't from there.
Wait, so do you ever yell at these kids in Spanish by mistake?
Well,
vení para acá, come over here. ¿Te pasa a veces?
We're so careful in the way that we do things here, just because we want to show the different experience, right? There's always ways to say it, right? So maybe you say it under your breath, but obviously you're not going to go out there and yell it out.
Of course.
So let me before we continue, let me frame this a little bit. If you're joining this episode, this is a part 2 of a first part and second part. But as a little summary of part 1, you should go and watch it. But if you didn't watch it, we're talking here with a little different soccer experience for kids than what we're used to in the U.S. And I'm gonna let you explain it better than us. Give us like a 30-40 second summary, right, of episode 1 of what it is that you do and why is it different and why should they go watch episode 1, right, and why they should maybe follow you and maybe adopt this in their area. So tell us quickly.
Very good, Eric. So yeah, my name is Mario. I'm a coach from Garden City, Kansas. We have an academy. It's called GC United Soccer Club. In the United States, I was raised in the pay-to-play culture, right? And one of the things that I've seen is that there wasn't that many kids that were able to participate in these events just because the lack of money or the lack of resources that the parents had. So I said, and I always received the help from different places. So I said, whenever I had the opportunity to build something like this, but make it with a little different shift or a mind shift in there where we could actually help the kids, participate and obviously take care of the cost, right? Through sponsorships that we'll go out there and get. So we're building these kiddos from age groups that are 6 years old all the way to 15 years old. And we're helping them with their mindset, their skill set, and their habits, right? We want to make sure that they become great individuals, great citizens, and then they're going to become great soccer players as a byproduct, right? So, yeah, we have been doing it. We have a bunch of kiddos and more kiddos coming in at all times. And, if we say that everything is perfect, we'll be lying to you. Everything is not perfect. You always have kiddos and parents and coaches, and you want to make sure that you have the right formula, right? First of all, making sure that you have the right core values. So the coaches follow the core values, and then obviously that the parents are following, what the coaches are asking them to do, right? So that's what I said. We set up systems, and then we don't manage the players. We manage the system, and then the players follow the systems, right? So it's been a very nice journey. And we're so excited. We're always finding new ways to communicate with the parents, new ways to communicate with other entities like different coaches. I just sat down with Mauricio Vargas. He is a coach at Friends University, 3 hours away from here, or 3.5 hours away. And that he was a former national goalkeeper at Costa Rica. And that, we have some other things that we're working there so we could actually coach and educate the parents in what to do in youth soccer, right? Make it a little different. I remember being the kiddo that my parents couldn't make it to the games just because they were working, right? So they could put food on the table. But I also remember on the other coin, or the other side of the coin, where we would have a lot of the friends and the kiddos or their parents will come and they'll be yelling at the kids and they will make them nervous and all those different things. So we want to make sure we're putting all these things together, all these different courses and modules, so then the parents will be able to go out there, study those things, so then we can start creating a new culture, right? So yeah, we're happy for that.
So thank you for that recap.
Amazing.
If anything from this interests you, go watch that episode 1. We go into depth into this a little bit different format. We called the first episode. What was the name of the first episode that we did? We did Futbol, God, and Love. No, what is it?
Dios.
Dios, Fútbol y Amor.
Yeah.
That's
so
correct.
and your model. I think I saw a sticker the other day, and I think it said you're not a trophy chaser. You're not interested in that.
That's the motto.
I
love it.
I mean, that's not their motto, but I saw that.
Yeah.
And you thought about you.
And I thought about
got
you
it.
because it's not that model specifically. It's not that the kids are not going to be great soccer players,
Right.
because there is a big element of that. But the main function is to teach these kids a lot more than just to go out and win a trophy. You're teaching them to win at life. You know
What I
Right.
also what I also love about this is
Soccer
that
with a purpose, right?
soccer with a purpose.
what I also love about this model that you mentioned, you're teaching parents how to accept their kids' performance, whatever level it may be, and you're educating parents on how to be better parents, essentially.
Yeah.
Because parents are a huge deal. And you've seen the videos on TikTok, whatever, of parents arguing with the ref, getting in fights because their kids aren't playing, or with coaches because their kids aren't playing enough. I played in high school soccer, and I would remember very, very much fresh in my mind when my friend's dad would go, "Why aren't you putting him in? Why are you putting him in and not him? Put my son in more," like stuff like that.
Well,
just crazy stuff.
Well, this is a great segue into what we want to focus on this episode.
Yes.
Which, Mario, feel free to go back to the model, to what you do as you're talking. But we wanted to ask you specifically about kids soccer in the U.S. and tell us a little bit about the model, the normal, why is
the existing
now?
model.
Yeah, what's happening now?
What's the problem and what's the solution?
Yeah, and what's the solution, and what is your take on it? Because you're in there every day. Me, I just experienced my first training. They were gonna have a game last Thursday and it got canceled because of rain. But I know parents. I have good friends that have been in this world, and it's expensive, almost unbearable. These people are now almost miserable because their kids have, it's crazy. Like, these parents are going through so much stuff.
We're spending
So I want to hear a little bit from you, and what do you think, and what should parents do? What should they expect? Just talk to us about what's happening today, and that's what we're going to focus on this episode.
I love it, yeah.
Very good. So one of the main things, the first point and the first key point that I want to kind of focus on is that we here in America, and you probably heard Landon Donovan said that this last week, right? He was like, hey, look, we have one thing that makes us better, right? We want to be number one at everything, right? That's what us Americans, we want to do, right? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, we are going about it the wrong way. Just because you have coaches arguing with other coaches just because they had some type of issue, right? Or because they had some type of animosity between them, right? So one of the things that I say is, you cannot, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? So we have to make a change. What is the change that I believe we need to make is there has to be different levels. Let's just call it from the 6 to 10-year-old level. It needs to be all doing the basics brilliantly, right? How do we allow the kids to have the passion for the game? How do we allow them to enjoy and find that love for the game, right? Because if they don't have the passion, if they don't have the love for the game, how are they going to pursue it? How are they going to go out there and actually do it at excel at a different level, right? They're not going to. How many kiddos do we have that are extreme athletes that are amazing at running, jumping, crashing against each other, but then you have coaches that are not trained, right? I believe that's what everything comes down to is the coach trained? Is the coach trained as a person? Is he trained in the development of people, right? Because I can say that I come from an organization or different organizations where I focus on the development of myself and then the development of the people that I have around me. In this case was adults, right? Now, whenever I'm going to go, everybody's going to have a different character, right? The kiddos are going to have different attitudes. You're going to have to make sure that you go out there and you communicate somewhat differently with every single kid, right? There's not one size fits all. So in my opinion, it has to come down from the training on the coaches. And training is something you do, not something you did. You do this every single day, right? So how can you?
You didn't learn you don't learn everything from de un saque. You have to continually develop.
You continually have to be developing yourself. You continuously have to be growing, and you continuously have to be staying relevant, right? Because if you're not relevant, people are not going to be leaving the academy. People are not going to be leaving a brand. People are going to be leaving people, right? So if I'm not leading them correctly, they're going to find, okay, this person doesn't bring me value. Then therefore, I'm going to go and try to find someone else that is going to bring me value. But ultimately, in different areas, if you're not really training yourself, they're going to go from one club to another club to another club. And then guess what happens? They just find the same thing in all these different places. People that don't care about leading with love. People that don't care about actually teaching these kids things, right? Or the right values. So then they end up quitting, right? So now you could have had a Messi in one of these little towns, or you could have had a Di Maria somewhere, but then just because they had bad experiences over and over and over again, they end up quitting, or they end up playing, I don't know, volleyball or something else,
Which is not it's not bad, but it's a sad situation how they ended up there, because it's true. Before we started this interview last episode, we were talking a little bit about your philosophy, and I think I still mention this: if more coaches followed your philosophy, your model of work, United States, I say we as Americans living in this country, would win a World Cup.
Yes,
there would be enough grassroots movement to win a World Cup.
Amen. There's such a big melting pot here in the United States where you truly have kids from all over the world. I mean, this is like the globe, the United Nations right here, right?
Yep.
So then now, what do we do in order for us to actually train our coaches the right way, so the coaches are actually focusing on the things that are going to move the needle, right? Rather than saying, oh, I'm going to get 20 kids together, and then I'm going to put 2 goals, and then I'm going to make them run and just do things like that. Anybody could run. Riquelme dice, todo el mundo puede correr, pero alguien que juegue con la pelota es diferente, right? So now, how do we instill those things inside of our kids' minds? How do we instill that inside of our kids' hearts, right? Because if they don't feel it here, then whatever we tell them, it's going to go one ear and it's going to go the other way. So
do you see in the kids, or in your experience, do you see these kids jumping into the sport because of fame or money or like, are those the drivers you see, or is it more the love of the sport?
I believe it's a little bit of everything, just because the way that I do with our kiddos is I interview them, right? So I don't know if you guys know Coach Luis Carrala. He is a strengthening coach, and he has a book. It's called 365. Can you do me a favor? Go grab me that book real quick there, and I'll read you a little bit of an excerpt from that. But this is where it comes down to, okay, is the coach that you have, is he pursuing greatness just because he wants to have greatness and he wants to have the first place on everything, or is he doing it so he could actually be developed and then be able to develop you guys according, right? Because it's not up to me. Like, I'm not the important thing here. The important thing here are the kiddos. They're the ones that are going to go out there and grow. They're the ones that we're going to be able to develop them, right?
As you look for that, I saw an interview con Agüero last week, and he was saying, "Man, I don't know." They were talking about money, and he was like, in the beginning, he goes, "When I went from this team to this team in Europe, I didn't know that when they sell me, I have to get a percentage of that sale. Like, if un equipo de Argentina sells me to a Europe team, I get a 15%. I didn't care. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play and whatever. And then he started saying, but then I kind of figured it out. So which what I caught from that was like, these cats from Argentina, they just really wanted to play. And they were so thankful, and like they were just living a dream of just playing. Afterwards, the money thing kind of hit them. Like, they're like, oh, well, okay, I'll make the money. But the driver was to play. They just wanted to play, So,
but then also to realizing that you actually would get paid to do something that you were insanely in love with, which is very rare.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Right. So now, one of the excerpts that I've seen here is that we got to have more reliable people in our lives, right? Now, one of the things is how do you become a reliable person? How do you become a reliable coach, right? First of all, you got to keep the promises you make to yourself, right? If you are the coach here, because I know that there's a lot of coaches that do watch this or that do follow our different social media platforms, is you gotta do what you say you're gonna do. All right. It doesn't matter if you say you're gonna wake up at 7 a.m. and 7 a.m. comes around and then you don't wake up, you hit the snooze, you're already lying to yourself, because there's one thing that we cannot lie to, which is our subconscious mind, right? So now if you're not able to trust yourself, how are you going to have other people be able to trust you and count on you, right? So we want to make sure that we could keep building on those blocks trust me, whenever I'm telling you this, Seba, Eric, it's not as easy to find the right individuals that are going to go out there and focus on making sure that the kids are growing, just because they might not have had that training. They might not have had those years, right? They might not have those experiences, right? Because I could bring anybody to come in and help, but I got to be very selective of who's going to be, in this kids, between this kids' years, right?
So let me ask you a question. Perfect question here. I have a kid. I want my kid, he's shown interest in soccer, and now I am going to look as a parent for where is my kid going to play? What should I be looking for as a parent? What things, give me like a easy, like a one, two, three, a checklist of what should I be looking for in a team, in a coach. What are some key things I should be looking for when choosing a team for my kid?
Thank you. In my opinion, the first thing has to be is that does the team have a good mission statement? And what are they doing this for? Who are they doing it for, right? Now, the second thing is that what are the core values of the people in that organization, right? Is the director, talking the talk or walking the walk, right? And then the third thing is going to be like, okay, now whenever my kid is there, how are they feeling there, right? Because ultimately we want to make sure that they got to feel some type of way. And that type of way has to be, okay, I want to be there. I want to partake, right? There's human basic needs. Everybody has them, right? And one of them is love and connection. The other one is growth. The other one is contribution, certainty and uncertainty, right? Those are things that human we need in order for us to participate or for us to belong into something, right? So now, and the main thing is, why are they doing it for, right? And just to go back to your question that you said before, why are the kids joining? There's a lot of the kids, they want, this is what it is. They want to be part of something. Everybody wants to be part of something bigger than they are, right? Yeah. And in my opinion, that's what it is. And we ultimately do everything because we want to be happy. That's why people start worse. That's why people end worse. Like, we want to be happy, So how can we help the kids be happy, yet ultimately we want to make sure that they're continuously growing, right? And that we are staying relevant. And that's how we do it, by working and by keep.
I love it that he never mentioned, and I don't know if you did it on purpose, but you never mentioned, look how many trophies this team has won, or how many championships, or all that. Because I do feel that it would be the other way, where parents are like, you know what? That's the championship team. That's where I want my kid to play there.
And that's the American vibe. That's the winning attitude. Everything, like you said in the beginning, Mario. The mentality is we have to be number one. Landon Donovan, number one. You have to be this number one all the time. The highest possible step. If you're not number one, number two doesn't count.
If you're not first, you're last.
You're last. Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
The one thing is that, and this is something that you will see in Argentina. This is something that you will see in Brazil too. They want to be number one too. Yes. And if you look at the the little kids, 6 years old, they're playing futsal, and you will see this little stadiums packed of people con banderas. And
no, es verdad. It's true. That attitude also permeates South America, por supuesto.
Yes, it does. Now, like, let me explain another thing. Aymar, el Pablito Aymar, ¿verdad? El payasito Aymar. He says, this is one thing that I always focus on the kids that we have. It's like, if I have a few kids that love to dribble the ball, that love to go out there and grab the ball and try to take on 2 or 3 players, why are we stopping those players from doing what they actually love to do and they are good at doing, right? No, foster every single kid's strength, right? And make sure that you're letting them grow. Whenever we get to a different age group, which is going to be kind of like the 12 to 14, then that's whenever we start focusing more, strategy, positioning, This is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to overlap. So more of the tactics side of things. For now, the kids want to play with the kids. They just want to have fun.
Yeah, that's it.
So then put something, a platform where they're going to go out there and have fun that is going to be very organized, because you want to make sure that you have an organization, right? You don't want to have 30, 40, 50 kids running around, without, or aimlessly in a sense, right?
Right.
But ultimately, just you got to foster the fun. And if you see that they have a strength, go out there and double down on that strength, right? And what are their weaknesses? Then let's work on those weaknesses so we can make them better, right? And then everything comes with time. Yeah. We're not gonna make a big impact here in 6 months. We're gonna make an impact, but we're not gonna make a change in 6 months. We're gonna make a change in 2 years. We're gonna make a change in 2 years. Look, I have this little one here with me.
Oh,
my guys.
Hi. Yeah, this is my guy. You scored all the goals. I saw you. You scored all the goals.
Yeah. And one of the things that I could tell you about my guy is that my guy, I've been raising her since she was little, and we've gone through different organizations where we were in Houston, and we will see how they would work with the little ones there and what they will teach them with the little ones there, right? Like they'll teach them how to do Maradonas, they'll teach them how to do Cruyffs, they'll teach them how to do those little things, right? And now you see that she transferred all those things onto the field, right? Now, if I was just yelling at the kids and telling them, oh, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that, we make the kids feel this little.
Yeah.
Right? And if you make the kids feel that little, do you think the kids are going to want to be there? No, the kids are not going to want to be there.
It's too much pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. And listen, pressure is a privilege, in my opinion, but at a certain level and not at this level.
Right.
Yeah.
Mario, we could talk to you all day about this. We could talk to you and Micah all day about this. We literally should do like another 3 or 4 episodes, but we want to finish off a little bit this interview.
Yeah.
Did you want to read that quote from the book? I'm intrigued about that book that you have there. You said the 365.
Yes, you could.
Did you read that? Wanted to read that quote real quick, and we'll wrap it up with that. But we have so many more questions to ask you. And while you get that book real quick, what can we do to support your organization? What can people do to support your organization so we can let people know this kind of coaching method, what you've been doing with these kids, how you've changed their lives and the families' lives? What can we do to help?
The main thing that I believe that we could do to help is that obviously we want to foster a growth here, right? We want to change the way people have been doing things. As I mentioned before, if we just keep doing the same thing all over and over again, we're going to be here in 20 years speaking about the same thing, right? Yeah. Well, we could have, during those 20 years, we could have had all these kids grow up to be great citizens and then eventually, achieve all those different things that at the higher levels we want to achieve, right? So in the sense of helping, we do thrive on sponsorships, because ultimately that's what we are taking care of with the kids that, obviously they can take care of, their uniforms, their registrations, and, all these other things, all these other costs that come with it, right? So I don't really have anything set up like a GoFundMe or anything like that, and I'm not here asking for money. I do go out there and I knock on all the doors that I possibly can so I could get that help, right? But I believe that if there is anything in your guys' heart that you guys want to help with,
Sure.
The organization, we do have obviously the bank account for the organization itself, right? So we have everything in black and white. If anybody always asks or anybody asks for anything, this is there, right? So
the one thing we can do right away is that we can invite everybody that's listening to this and all of our listeners to,
including on Spotify.
Go follow
podcast.
Go follow Mario and his club. Mario, if you could tell us your handle on Instagram and from there, I'm assuming you will they can find out everything and all the other ways they could help. Mm-hmm. So how can they? What's their Instagram handle?
They could find us at UNTD Soccer Club. So at UNTD Soccer Club,
or we'll post it on the episode.
That's okay. Right. Or they could follow my personal account, which is going to be Mario Ojeda's World. So my first name, awesome. Last name, and then World, right? And you'll be able to follow. I post everything about the kiddos there, everything about what the club is, and truly for the coaches that are out there, for the people that are wanting to start something, because I do get messages from other people saying, hey, you know what, your story inspires us. We want to do this, right? We want to do that, right? So I'll just say, go and grab that book. He's not sponsoring me, but he's one of the good coaches out there.
Firelighters 365.
that I do work with. And, I'm very happy that I was able to meet him. He's the one that kind of gave me the interview for me to coach his kiddos. There's a lot of times, guys, that you see a lot of individuals doing great things out there in the world, and you think that you're far away from those. And trust me, you're not far away from anybody. I can tell you that right now, that if you have a big dream in your life, a big dream in your heart, you're just one person away, you're one relationship away, you're one movement away, right? So go out there and make the effort, because if you don't do it, maybe you would have been the blessing for all those people. And if you didn't do it, who's going to go out there and do it for them?
Amen. Amen to that.
Buenísimo. Thank you, Mario. Bueno, thank you so much for your time. Mario, Mika, thank you all. Continue to do what you do. We'll try to help as much as we can here. And if your heart was moved or touched by this and you're listening, go help out Mario. He's definitely doing great things with
amazing things,
and with the future of our future in football too, man.
Mario, I hope you enjoy that game. Epa, ¿qué hace, caballero? Hola.
Este es Luca.
Luca, mucho gusto, Luca. Hola. I hope you enjoyed that game last night, bro. Argentina, Chile, la rompimos, la descosimos. Ay, qué lindo.
What do you think about that game?
That game was really. They got so many touches and it was just unfair for the other team.
There you go.
I love it. Analysis. Ya está. Te acabó el episodio. Ya está. They already took care of our analysis for us.
Bueno, gracias, chicos.
Un
abrazo,
chicos.
Un aplauso.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Chao. Vamos. Vamos, grande.